Yes, hello. Hi, happy September. Hi. Okay, I'm here, everyone. I'm so excited to finally be back in the good grace of YouTube. All of you just enjoying my life. I have the following things: coconut water, grapes, coconut water, um, and honestly, a cheery disposition as we talk and get to reacquaint each other with each other and remember what life is like, which is for sure television recaps, dumb things told through a certain POV, which is mine. But at the same time, in a live YouTube space like this, I get to sort of create a culture with you all. You know what I'm saying? So, as we let people pop in, hello, I'm so excited to see you, babes. I'm going to tell you that one thing about myself that we're going to, as we reacquaint ourselves, know is that I'm back to wearing like a lot of makeup. Happy Sky. You know what? Here's the thing. I'm not quite done yet because the thing about it is, you're right. It looks crazy because it doesn't have the final touches. I wanted to give a moment to people to sort of congregate and also give, obviously it's a yellow time of year. I mean, an orange time of year. So, 'tis the season. It's orange. I started to buy these baked beauties and I really, really like it. At the same time, I have one tried and true mascara that I can no longer buy in the continental USA because they no longer sell it. And the times in which I could buy it at duty free, you can't buy duty free because of the fucking Trump tariffs. So the mascara that I'm obsessed with, and I've gone and done my mascara the same way my whole life. Now I've used different mascaras, but the technique has been the same. Right now is this Lancome Grandiose, and I like it for the incredibly thickening texture, as well, I guess, as the aerodynamics of this wand. So don't worry, we're going to talk 90 Day Fiance. I'm just giving some air. You know what I'm saying? And also, yes, this is the Chanel just press powder, but I am using, Lancome. How are you all? How has your summer been? How was your Labor Day? I get to like say hi and talk for a second. And then I'll go in and then I'll give you my thoughts. And then we can talk afterward. That'll be the new lay of the land. Okay. These talks I'm going to be able to use hopefully in a long form, cutting out, of course, what I'm doing right now, which is addressing people in the room. Long form talks like in a podcast or whatnot, in which I can do what I love to do, have deep talks about dumb things, which is basically what I've been doing my whole life. So, but I also love talking to people in the room and interacting. So I'm going to bookend each session with that so I can have it. And that way I can have whatever I want. You know what I'm saying? I know. I can have it all. So, as this format, thank you so much for being on the ride with me. As this format evolves, I want to be able to use the best technology. So, like, whether that's going to be Substack, YouTube, blah, blah, blue, all the things, Instagram Live, stuff like that. I'm going to try and find the best utilization of that, as well as Amy, I'll say this, as 11 p.m. in New York, as well as like appropriate times. You know what I'm saying? Because the truth of the matter is, I also love New York, and I also be in New York sometimes. And so I think I'm going to have to do a couple of different sessions a week where they're at kind of like different times, maybe one times in a day and one times, more of at night. And that way I can get all of it. Literally have my cake and eat it too. Whoever's around or whatever, and then I'll be able to have different episodes talking about the things we want to talk about, and then thusly be happy. So, let's see, 5 minutes in. I'll stay up for you. Okay, so this episode will be talking about the current landscape of 90 Day Fiancé as we go into September 2025. As we know, we, honey, just ended the premiere of the first Hunt for Love. It was 90 Day Fiancé Hunt for Love, an incredibly new format for 90 Day that is familiar nonetheless for us television aficionados, shall we say. Yes, it gives some sort of love island, some sort of bachelor in paradise moment. And of course, we don't mind that. We enjoy it because the the problem is we either have couples that try and stay together when they're not together, or leave because they're in disastrous relationships, and yet we still want to know what happened to them. There are, as we know, television personalities that the 90 Day Fiancé multiverse has born, and some of them have been really bad, right? Like the Angelas, like the Lidas, and honestly, Jasmine's going that way too for me. So Big Ed, like an kind of unwatchable. And then there's also the people that we were like, holy shit, like, what's happening with them, like Danielle, like there's just a lot of I'm like, who like, yeah, who else would you want to have back on and then just like see what's happening? Anfisa, obviously. Like Hunt for Love is what I want for Anfisa. It's what I wanted for Anfisa when Anfisa was, shit out of luck in a bad situation. And like she, at the time, I'm sure was very smart in negotiating her contract and not giving them what they wanted. At the same time, if she had a little more authority now, I wonder if she'd be back on. Now, having said that, do I still follow Anfisa? Yes. And is she, but seems like happily booed up? Yes. Is she living her life in Orange County? Yes. Which is also so funny. Anfisa has been living her life in Orange County, going to Lifetime Gym, like going and celebrating her birthday at Ocean 48, which is like a steakhouse in Fashion Island in Newport Beach. And Orange County obviously is like the home of Cole, Rocky, so many Hunt for Love, I would say stars, but um co-stars. Co-stars. Well, reoccurring. And that's just Hollywood talk. Hi. So yeah, we just ended the second part of the tell-alls. Now, I have a lot of juicy goss. Why? Because a couple of things. A, hi, look at me. Also, B, Avery. I'd love to see Avery. Yes, Jocelyn. Also, B, because DocuSweeties was invited to go to the 90 Day Hunt for Love premiere in New York City. And we got to meet the cast and meet the creators and be in New York and all that stuff. And at that time, and I still to this moment, don't necessarily want to be friends with anyone on the show. More, I want to be like, for sure, like very, very close working friends with Matt Sharp. But I like, I'm not trying to like necessarily be like soups close, but inevitably, because your girl has been talking about this show for a long time and I'm fucking fabulous and should be famous. I've like had touchstone acquaintances with like David, and I hope he's well. I haven't talked to him in a minute. Courtney, yada yada. That's really it. I don't know why I said yada yada as if there was just gonna be so many more. Which is fine. Again, for the reason I said. So I go to this premiere and I see Courtney. And Courtney, again, I had known because I did like a comedy show here in LA a billion years ago, and she was there and we went out afterwards, like me, her, and like Annie and David, and I want to say maybe like what's that guy's name that was with that mean girl from Ecuador? You know who I'm talking about. Oh, Lord. She's mean, but maybe not. He'd always kind of seemed a little like daffy and dumb, but I think they're still together. You'll tell me. Anyway, so it's kind of made me so sad. So anyway, God bless. Anyway, yeah. Courtney, I did like a lot. And she always gave me like an interesting personality on TV, which is someone who like has the same MO of being like, I like to drink and I'm smarter than I think, or smarter than you think. So whatever. Having said all that, everything is totally fine. We watch the season, we make no, it's not. We make reels. Now, Tiffany during the party was very nice and she started following me and she, is I had watched her season with, Ronald, and she was very young and she, God bless, she grew up, since then. So I was like, what, okay, for God bless. And I post a reel from the docu-sweeties and Tiffany like comments on it and it seems like she's a little defensive. She seems like she's a little upset by it. Now, if you watch the reel, it's basically saying, which is true, that she was kind of like the queen of Hunt for Love. She's really beautiful. And at one point had all these guys, like 3 guys after her, and then sort of had this horrible situation with Carlo. And instead of being really mad at him, she kind of like tried to manipulate him to have a choice and then reclaim her after having cheated on her and then like punched down. I felt like Annalise. It was a weird situation. And she must have felt the heat, I guess, online, but she came to DocuSweetie's Instagram and she commented on the reel. And the way she commented wasn't like, oh, you guys, you got me. And I know I was wrong. It was kind of like, you guys, it was really hard for me and you got me, but at the same time, I'm not perfect like you guys are. It's like, okay, well, we didn't, we're none, literally, there's not one part of the entire, there's not one part of my entire existence, I think, in any like artistic medium that I've ever took breath in where the vibe has been that I'm perfect. You know what I'm saying? I started this live with like not mascara on. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that it's mostly my brand, and probably the only reason why I can comment on other people is because I acknowledge the imperfectness of myself, although I try desperately to fight against it. Honey, that Mary Poppins in me, but just failing, but failing. So anyway, God bless. So that's all then all that to say, I know that she follows me, so I message her. Not from the podcast that, I host, but for my own personal one, because I don't want to be mad. Okay? I didn't want her to be mad. Shay, Chris, are you still in New York City? No. Shay heard this already because Shay, I'm sure read about this or heard this in the Patreon for DocuSweeties. But basically, after that, I said, hey, I'm hoping you're engaging to that post more from a place of fun and not feeling defensive. If you listen to us, not that you should, we talked about being disappointed that you seem to blame Jennifer and Elise more than me. You can also hear the 1 billion times I say that you are the most beautiful woman on the show, how I'd want men to fight over me, and more and more. Now, I'm not going to actually read to you what she said because I'm a lady, but she wrote back, okay? And some of it was like edited, so it was like she's feeling a certain way. And then I elaborate. Carlo was given a chance. Carlo was given a choice of what girl he was going to claim, and I hate that for us. Elise has been Elise since day one. Elise's need for male validation is loud. There's stuff there that needs to be unpacked, probs and therapy. That's why it was punching down, which is like what I was saying in the reel. She had been humiliated the whole time and wasn't obs a regular cast member. And then I said, do you think I want to have pity and empathy for Elise? Which is mean. Of course I should want to, but at this time I wasn't. And I also had put up a reel kind of snarking on Elise earlier in the season for like what her supposed age is, and she had to come correct and actually show her age because because she said all that in a bag of chips, and I mean that's something that like someone who babysat me said. I mean, I said, check the reel where we are super snarky about her. I mean, that's probably the meanest we've ever been. Anyway, you are too good for Carlo, and I like you, so I hold you to a high standard. But to be honest, and this is where I hate myself for this, and know this, when I say the rest of this, know that she never wrote back. And you know what? That's good for her. And that's probably the smartest thing that she's ever done. But to be honest, I see a lot of myself in you. I've never had kids, but I love makeup. And I had a gastric sleeve in 2017, which you guys know because I made a YouTube video about it. I would have gone directly to Elise. She probably would have told you the amount of times they hooked up, and then you would have known everything to know. Don't accept crumbs from men. I swear that's the last thing I'll say. And it certainly was. And it certainly got absolutely no comment. Not that it deserved one. But since we're talking about people that I DM'd about Hunt for Love, because this is why you're here. It's for some sort of tea, right? I also, because I'm friends with her, I really liked Courtney. Plus, again, now after part one of the tell-all, we see Tiffany and Courtney like go at each other, and whether they're playing it up or not, it makes me upset because Tiffany says like stupid things like this bitch really thinks she's stupid, and Courtney is absolutely fucking not stupid. Now, at the same time, do I want her to be with Colty? No, I think it's really annoying. Not even his mom wants to be with him. Take a fucking clue. I think that I think that two things about Courtney can be absolutely true. She's incredibly smart and she's incredibly quick, but at the same time, she has a heart of gold, and either because she knows what it's like to be like downtrodden, or she's like she overshares as a trauma response, or she feels so connected to the underdog that she can't help herself because she's in every way better than Colty. And yet here he is living with her, and it makes me so sad. So having said that, I feel a certain way, and so right? Okay, so so I write to her, Courtney, after watching the tell-all part one. I'm watching the screener early, humble brag. You are so genuine and funny. People are going to live for these comments you are making. LOL. I'm so happy. And she says, "Oh, you're so sweet." She doesn't. I'm sure she's fine with this. I won't say everything she's going to say, but and then she's like, she doesn't understand why I'm watching the tell-all. God bless, because I get a screener, and then she starts talking about pillow talk. I don't want to watch that. She doesn't even really know what happened. I tell her, part one is what I just watched it was pretty much catching up on you and Colt and all that sex talk, which was so funny. God bless. Everyone against Carlo, which, yep. And then Tiffany, like, not really being mad at Carlo, but anyway, how much for me realizing how controlling and intense Tiffany can be. And again, misplaced because she's not really mad at Carlo, but then like mad at Courtney. And also Elise and Tim going on a date. And then that really never happened, by the way. Like, even at the end, he was like, no, which is so weird. Tim also, who like is like, Jennifer, put the gay rumors out there, and like, no, your fashion did. I mean, and makeup, and hair, and the way you sit, all of it. Okay, but not really like, and I feel like only in the gay way, like that, because you're older. Like he seems gay because of his age and all of that too. Anyway, God bless. Courtney also said, I don't know why everyone hates on Jen, which is true. Listen, Jen is obvious to me. And I don't care about Cole. So I don't understand why anyone cared so much about Cole and Jen over their own love life. Who cares about Jennifer? She doesn't even live God bless, in the country enough. She wasn't even at the tell-all. You know what I'm saying? She was like Usman. She could be like hit over with like, a very weak wrist. Now, I'm not saying that people who don't live in America don't count. All I'm saying is Jennifer, who cares? I mean, why are we, she's fine. I also liked the drama because at the same time, she pulls power moves, and she's not trying to fight over women. She's trying to, I feel like, fuck over men. I don't mind that. That's all that really happened on like the DM fronts. But yeah, like I really said this, and this is true. Meeting Rob at the meeting Rob at the premiere, at first I thought I was gonna be kind of scared because, he had presented such a really, easily chastisable character and was great bait. And I took it, and other people did it too. God bless. And so when I met him, he was incredibly gracious, and I would say that his public relations team really orchestrated a pretty good season for him because he got to do drama, got to be in drama, and got to like flirt and seduce, but nothing, there's like no blood on his hands. You know what I'm saying? And that's it's almost like Big Brother. If you watched Big Brother, because I just, blood on their hands is such a Big Brother type of thing to say, which is what you can do, how much you can create, and how much you can have people like moving about you, influenced by you, never mad at you, and never overly intimidated by you so that you're threatening enough to like come at. And like it's a fucking soup. Like it's a well-spiced soup. And at any time, one little something is just gonna throw off the entire fucking palette of it, you know? Um I feel like Rob did everything he had to do. He didn't give up unnecessary information that would throw him off. Oh, this keeps doing that. He only told the truth when he had to, and when he had absolutely no loyalties, and when the truth was, pretty much asked by Suki and the producers. And I loved Suki being the host. In fact, Suki being the host was so admirable. I think there might be hope in the world for change. So, having said that, I wonder what's going to happen in the sense like I think that Hunt for Love did really well. I think they're going to do too. I think that they're going to cast other people. I wonder if they're going to ever do anything with the other people that were on Hunt for Love that we'll never know, honey, that we just don't know. Like, of course, there's, that guy and that girl and the one you're thinking of, and the guy that was there, and, him, tall one, short one, that muscly woman. There were so many people there. And the truth is, like, I wonder what life is like for them now and like what they were told, and if they'll ever be able to say anything, if they really like signed NDAs for their life, or if for some reason they exist, or like they can just come back for Hunt for Love too, like the original founding members. What if Hunt for Love was like some weird, not weird, but sexually fluid playground for hot people to dalliance? You know what I'm saying? Because let's be honest, there were a lot of attractive contestants. I just think that there probably weren't a lot of really lovely, intelligent, fun ones besides May. You know? Elise and Courtney are really good friends. So Elise gave something. Elise probably was just really, really funny. And of course, Elise, she was just like, look, I'll just do everything for you guys. Elise kind of gives that kind of energy. Like, Elise is a beta in every way. I like Elise, by the way. I think that she, I want the best for her. I just want her, I think I want the best for everyone on the show to do better. Like I've given shade to everyone. I want Courtney to have made better choices. I want, obviously Tiffany, obviously Elise. I want myself to make better choices. Not tonight. I love my choices tonight. I got my hair done, honey. I'm back in LA. Okay, so we are also in the middle of Happily Ever After. And is it because truly another thing that happened and obviously I'm leaving Hunt for Love behind. One thing that happened for this season of HEA that is kind of wild is that instead of the typical docuseries format that we have followed, which is there's a couple that we're following. We're seeing scenes from their lives, vignettes. There's another couple that we're following. We're seeing scenes from their lives, vignettes. There's another couple, blah, blah, blah. And then, they don't intermingle because they are the subjects of a docuseries with a similar theme. This is the theme, 90 Day Fiance. And so now in Happily Ever After, we have 3 couples that they all hang together and then they'll have this one big mono scene, pretty much. And that'll be their segment. And it feels categorically disingenuous. And it feeling that way is also sort of against the type of a docuseries, which is supposedly like a slice of life. And I understand that reality shows and these docuseries are set up and things are planned and if not reshot and whatnot. But at the same time, to mess with the format so much, like it feels like I'm no longer watching something. I don't know what I'm watching. You know what I'm saying? It feels like a gray area. So having said that, I'm referencing this mono scene that is now happening in HEA between Jovi, Yara, Lauren, Alexi, Libby, Andre. Now, we've had a little more Libby and Andre because they've had the good grace to take us out of Miami. Thank you. And Moldova, which, obviously, historically on this show, we love a good foreign country visit. It always feels good, like, especially through the eyes of someone who loves the country and is excited to be there. And it's like, yeah, showing it off. So I honestly am so into seeing at this time only Yara and Jovi and Libby and Andre, and definitely not Lauren and Alexi. And for lots of reasons, but I think that Lauren, needs some time off, especially after this last episode, just to chill. Just to fucking chill. Like, she doesn't need to be on TV anymore. Just let her take care of herself and her, this is all too much. And it's, I don't know. I think that people are chasing fame in a way, and you can see it like in many different forms, from like actors to like influencers, but like it is really difficult to need likes and or follows and or eyes on you. It's very difficult to need that. And I feel bad for Lauren because, like, I think that, I also don't have like a manifestation of like a thing where she like, I tick in such a way that under stressful situations, all you would, I can't stop those things. And I feel like I want her, she just needs to take care of herself. And I think that from her social media persona and this is not for her. Like, I think that if she had people in her life that like could see and love her in a way that feels healthy, I think that people would steer her away from that. But I just don't know how many of those people she has in her corner, and I'm not saying I'm not one of them, but so but having said that, the converse to that, we're getting a pretty authentic feeling couple storyline between Kara and Guillermo, and we haven't seen them in a hot ass minute. And Kara has always given us like really cute aesthetics. Like, she really knows how to dress, and I swear to God, I think that she's picked out all of Guillermo's outfits as well. And we don't really know Nico, but we've gotten to like experience him. Now, she always was a worker. She was like an event planner, and she made bubble walls and stuff like that. She's in her new phase of like a bachata singer. It's just, I don't want to, it's just, listen, she's just too white sounding and definitely not a good enough singer to ever do that music justice. There's a lot of soul in, I just don't think it's her. I just don't think it's that. I just don't think it doesn't have the rhythm and the feeling. It doesn't have that kind of get me up on the feet, like I don't quite understand the aesthetic of like the Y2K with that. Unless I mean you really could absolutely school me. This is back to school, honey. And so if you can, God bless. Where you really showed me how there's like an underground white bachata movement where like people are wearing Y2K stuff. And then I'd be like, okay, all right, all right. I see like the marabou. I see the like reflective plastic skirt. Okay. I I do think that she is gorgeous though. And I think that and by that I mean I think she has a lot of promise. The thing is he's hot too. Is there a hotter couple? I don't even think so. There's not a hotter couple on 90 Day Fiancé and there hasn't been in a very long time except for maybe Omar and Avery. Like Omar and Avery, Karen Guillermo, you're like, "Oh, I would well, okay, yeah. No, I paid to watch more of this. I want the best for them, but 2 things happen that I feel like are weird. A, both Kara and Kara's mom are both like, "He does nothing for you, nothing for us, nothing for Nico." And that's just a bad place to be. And they're also not like, "He does nothing for you, he doesn't even want to." Now, whether that's true or not true, and it can't be 100% true, it's just a bad place for both women to be. Like, it's because Kara is such a strong-headed person that if I think there was someone in her life that like could give her a balanced opinion, it's obviously not her mom who does a lot of the work for her and who she listens to. Guillermo is younger than her and from a different culture and obviously hasn't quite found the thing. And besides the thing being that he wants to be a pilot, we're like, "Oh, can you go Mark and Mina it up and like get some free lessons?" You know what I'm saying? Like go create content with them like for a summer. I don't know. It is really hard to be a pilot and get that education. And from what I saw, he took it upon himself to find the options for that to happen. And all of them were shut down. Just like when he said, "Who are you talking to?" That question was shot down by Kara in such a way that I don't respectfully feel like has a leg to stand on in an argument if you're married to someone. Unless you have always been jealous and you are constantly, this is a constant thing where every time your mom, every time this person's mom gets texts to this person, you're like, who you're texting? And you have to be like, my mom, asshole. Like, unless you're going to tell me that narrative, like Guillermo is incredibly possessive. I mean, hardcore jealous is like sniffing around her all the time. But that doesn't also seem like him. It seems like he was in a weird place, felt something, and was like, "Who are you texting?" And her first, in fact, I mean, absolute option was just to be like, "No, not telling you. You don't need to know." Knee jerk reaction, not necessary for my husband to know. Also, fuck you for asking a little bit. How dare you? That's that's not a good place to be if there's also like children involved. And I understand that like resentment builds, but I wonder like how that connects to this person won't do anything for the family. This person doesn't have drive or ambition. I wonder for Kara if there were many conversations where Guillermo talked about like his goals in life in a very ambitious driving way and she's like where did those goals go? Like did he ever have driving ambition and goals because he was really young and he's handsome. All that to say, did she think that it was going to come at some time? Did he ever display you know, any signs of those things? At 15, I saw Guys and Dolls on London. Doesn't make any goddamn sense. In London. And I talk about this maybe, or maybe I haven't. I'm annoyed by it only because for some reason up until 15, which really this is a stupid story. I didn't quite understand like the ways in which you could call yourself and be an actor. Like up until I think I saw this production, I kind of thought that being an actor was like red carpet shit. Was like you're going to be in movies, red carpet, da, da, da. And then when I saw this production of Guys and Dolls, and this is in the 90s, and I liked the character of Adelaide, because she talked like this. And I just thought that she was funny. And I somehow like clocked it together in my neurons that there was a person on stage, that person was taking up space, and that person was in fact an actress. That person got to pretend to be this character for the length of the performance, but also through the rehearsal space, and got to build things, and is wearing a wig, and is talking that way because she rehearsed it and all that stuff. And for some reason, that was the first time that I was like, oh yeah, I like that. I like that thing. And then from that moment, it's been pretty fucking obvious. You know what I'm saying? Now, side note is there's this Chekhov line. This actress says it. When I think about my calling, I'm not afraid of life. And I'm going to tell you this. When I think about my calling, I'm so afraid, which is probably why success has been fleeting. But I think that when you really love something, there's like this parallel bittersweet kind of like the other side of the knife of it, where it's like you love it so much that the possibility of not doing it is almost overwhelming. The possibility of failure is so sad. And I think that like that could be true if you are an ambitious person, and that can be true if you aren't. Maybe you aren't ambitious because secretly you do have some sort of like unspoken want that if you actually realized it through breath or try to like pursue it in any way, it would have to be real. And if it's real, then it's either going to happen or not happen. And if it doesn't happen, failure happened instead. And it's a hard pill to swallow. And the other side of Guillermo is that he also immigrated to a new country, got married, had a baby, had to acclimate himself, is on a television show. Who knows what that means? And like what, I don't know. Does he have a mentor? Does he have people telling him what to do? I don't know. It's all very difficult. It's all very difficult to pursue callings in your life and love. And the parallels of doing those things are really hard because it requires you to put yourself out there and to be vulnerable in such a way. And in the face again of hurt and or failure and or rejection in a lot of these ways. So, I just to talk about people on reality shows is, unspoken a little bit like that you have to be brave to put yourself out there. Now, having said that, I would never be on a relationship reality television show. Now, having said that, I would absolutely love to be on Traders. Oh my God. I have so much tartan too. Oh my God. Also, because again, the theater thing, I have played werewolf and mafia so many times. I'm so quite good. Okay. So, elsewise on HEA, how are you feeling about Georgie and Darcy? I will say that because we are having to be in Georgie's land, literally, and Darcy is being forced to be there for someone else. It's in fact an incredibly interesting season because there weren't a lot of like the seasons of her being with Jesse at and meeting his family were like early seasons of Darcy. And they were really indicative of some of the hurt and pain she had at that time that also made it very good television. And so it's interesting now to have her be like a little fish out of water. She is. She's definitely not living in with her sister or, have her dad around or, gets to have all the luxuries that she has grown accustomed to or God bless, whatever. And at the same time, I also want to give her the absolute huzzah brava that her hair has never looked better since she started fucking with her hair since like the first 3 seasons. You know what I'm saying? We've gone through a journey where her hair looks great now. Georgie not having not gone back for 13 years, and then his mom and his dad, like, having not seen him is so interesting. And it just feels like there's probably a lot to unpack there that we're never gonna unpack. And I will just say, it's funny because we're gonna get a lot of, like, Darcy this and Darcy that, and, like, like, she's gonna wear, her fake Hermes and, get mad at the mom and create all this drama. But let's just, if we were to actually honestly think that if this was a docuseries with producers that like cared, that we couldn't, because they already got Georgie's parents to sign off on their image, actually get real, truthful, what the fuck happened, why Georgie's not there. Like, think about the actual drama between Libby and Andre. What did Andre lose that money over? Now, I'm going to say like gambling or blackmail or drugs, some of those things. Why can't we talk or even hint about that? Why do we have to be at like the opening Yara dog luxury party? Because remember, we've already laid a foundation for Andre having been, a policeman, and then a lot of nefarious or sinister things went down and he couldn't be a policeman there anymore. We already know all that. So all I'm saying is that's the real what? Wait, what a minute? What rewind back? That's the real oh shit. Like, that's the kind of stuff that, like, what the fuck is Chuck's son-in-law doing with his daughter? Like, that's what I want to know. Don't you? And it's there. Now, I'm not saying I'm not saying they can like lay bare all of the secrets, but what I'm saying is I don't need to see Yara's dumb dog luxury party and everyone get mad about whether Lauren said that Andre is horrible or whether she said he's a dick. Just for Libby to be like, no, your husband is the dick. He body shamed you, which is, and he thinks you're whatever. Whenever he said it, and then you had a whole mommy makeover because you felt so bad about yourself, and now you are, God bless, going through it on camera, like ticking so hard because all of your secrets are laid bare. So can we get everyone that doesn't need to be on camera off camera now? And can we actually talk about the drama that's interesting and actually relevant in there? Because where the fuck is that money? And also, is Andre allowed to be in the country? And do people follow him now? Do people know that he's famous? And when he was in trouble then, do they know that he's famous now? And, he's back on that land? I just, like, that's the shit. That's the shit. So having said that, as you know, we are about to roll into another 90-day juggernaut, which is The Other Way. And so, 90 Day, The Other Way is coming back on September 8th. So basically a week from yesterday. And have you looked at the couples? We're going to go through them and then give our predictions. Are you excited? I'm also excited for Sister Wives to come back. And I also want to read Christine's book. However, I do know that they're all grifters and, you can only do what you got to do. But I will support the women. Okay, we're going to meet the couples, honey. Okay, so Shekinah and Sarpa are back because she's saying she's what? No, this has got to be old. Wait 1 second. Okay, I'm coming back. Just kidding. Patia and Dylan. She's from Texas and he's from Tasmania. An exotic dancer and her much younger Aussie boyfriend are finally ready to build a life together in Tasmania after more than a decade of on and off again long distance love, honey. Uh, with a 20-year age gap between them, and I'm sure I'm saying her name wrong. Patia or Patia, some say Patia, and Dylan face more than just cultural differences. As Patia adjusts to a completely new environment, the couple must also navigate Dylan's close relationship with his mother, who lives 5 minutes away, lingering trust issues, and the realities of merging two very different worlds. I mean, that last sentence doesn't have to be there because that's what this show is about. Okay, returning Luke from California and Madeline from Colombia. They met during a vacation in Colombia and have been inseparable ever since. Now we know them, honey. They love to give a lot of fake drama. She is very dramatique. Now 2 years later, Luke is finally moving and making the move, and the couple is planning a lavish wedding with 4 dresses and 0 budget compromises. But with financial stress mounting and trust issues bubbling over, how does he have money now? Because remember, he like barely had money then, and she made a beauty business and didn't spell it right. Okay. What's gonna happen? Will they make it to the altar, or will their trust issues pull them apart? And then, I mean, Jenny and Sumit, honey, tried and true. Tried and true. Can you believe? Has any couple endured like Jenny and Sumit? Like, sometimes I'm like, I don't know a couple in my real world that is 1/6 as unbelievable as them. Like, if I had a someone I knew that was in a situation that was only 1/6 as unbelievable as Jenny and Sumit's, I'd be like, that's not gonna ever work. Don't ever do it. Um, After years of cultural clashes and family opposition and a secret marriage, Jenny and Sumit have finally earned the blessing of Sumit's family, but at a cost. Their once independent life in India is about to change as they move in with Sumit's parents. With privacy gone and family dynamics front and center, where their hard-won love survived this new child. I think so. Listen, honey, if their hard-won love survived him catfishing her, then she going there, and then she realizing that he's betrothed to someone else, that his family hates her. And then there's a whole thing where they try and like steal him away. And then he says he has to be with the other woman. But then he leaves a woman, like, then they pay off that family and now he's with her. And then the mother says he'll never accept. And then the mother finally like kind of does. And now they live together. I mean, God bless. Okay. I mean, that is like a lottery or like a princess story, or like it's not a prince story. It's like whatever it is. Like, that is a magical story in whatever whatever connotation of the word magical you want to use. That love story is magical, like unbelievable. I still blows my mind. If they can, then how dare you, me, anyone can say that we can't or someone else can't. Truly. That's how I know. That's how I know that I've been too hard-headed, that I've been too close-minded. Because I wouldn't pay $1,000 to bet on that. You couldn't pay me to bet on it, or whatever that sentence is. I'm just saying, with those odds, I wouldn't have gone anywhere. I would have been like, absolutely not. And at the same time, I'm single and she's not. Now, would I? Why does she like? Why do they have to live with his mom now? Why? Also, it's just so interesting. Yeah, like, I would love to see what she does every day, all day long. Just wait for him to take her around. Is she now 100% independent? Does she sleep a lot? I just, I'm fascinated. Greta from Oklahoma and Matthew from England. Honey, giving us some fall vibes in that picture. After meeting on a vegan dating app, oh, thank God, and bonding over cats and shared quirks, thank you, Greta moves to England to begin her life with Matthew in a quiet English village. But with Matthew's parents under the same roof, their new beginning may be harder than either of them expected. Are you guys watching UK? I would love to start UK now that I'm back to a life that like makes sense and somewhat expected. Uh, A, because I love accents, and B, because I love kind of the foreign abroad. 90 Day Fiancés usually they're shot differently. I do want to see it. So if you're watching it, tell me what you think, especially when this video is posted. Okay, so Chloe from Massachusetts, which I know how to say. So just so you know, you were wondering. Johnny from Aruba. Chloe met Johnny, a charismatic pirate boat tour guide. A charismatic pirate boat tour guide while vacationing in Aruba. Now she's ready to leave her life in Boston behind to be with him full time. As their relationship deepens, Chloe must confront Johnny's flirtatious job, her skeptical family and family and friends, and growing concerns about trust between. There's always growing concerns about trust, and somehow trust is always somewhat of a thing. Okay, look at this. What an interesting pose. Manon from France. Okay. Anthony from California and Manon from France. Maybe it's Manon. Okay, so we'll find out. Married with a okay. Married with a toddler and teetering on the edge of burnout, Anthony and Manon moved to France in a last-ditch effort to save their marriage, but between clashing family members, mounting financial stress, and zero personal space, yes, they're sharing a bed with their child, co-sleeping. This fresh start may bring more pressure than peace. Can they rediscover the spark, or is it already too late? Oh, honey, and Jenny and Sumit got that AI-looking pic. My God, though, the sunny sunset looks beautiful behind them, like that kind of like beautiful pink orange. So yeah, we're in. Other than that, my loves, that is really all I have to say for the end of the 90-day back to school edition. We covered the past, the present, the future in Hunt for Love, HEA, Toe. It's so exciting to talk to you guys and be able to touch a lot of different shows in one episode. So that's exciting for me also. Um, of course, I'm Chris L. Farah on all social medias, and Vanity Farah is a place where we can have deep talks about dumb things. And so, yeah, make sure that you subscribe and comment on the video after it goes up. I'm going to keep talking though and answer some questions in the room. But for everyone else, thanks so much for listening. And yeah, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Okay, what do you guys say? Jenny and Sumit have blown my mind. They really lasted. I was proven wrong. I mean, love wins. Love wins. Right? I haven't been on another channel. I have my channel here, but I've been doing recaps through Docu Sweeties, which is a podcast. But I want to try this new format, which is kind of what I talked about earlier, which is I want to be able to I just messed up. I want to be able to talk about maybe multiple shows in one episode and also have a bookend experience where I can at least talk to people before and after that are live in the room. That's my goal. I just don't know exactly how it's going to come across because I really am interested in Substack as well as anyone on Substack and trying to move forward with the best way to create content and talk about fun, dumb things. Also, important things. So I want to talk about important things too. It's just that this format of television recaps can be somewhat chill. But I want to create more cooking videos, like makeup videos, skincare videos, stuff like that. I love like sharing that kind of stuff. It's always been really, really fun when I have. What have you guys been up to? Happy Labor Day. It's so hot here in LA. Like for a moment we thought it was gonna like have earthquake weather. If Jenny and Sumit can find love, why can't I? You know what? I think that love can be found everywhere, and there's different kinds of love. I think that opening yourself up to being present in the moment and strengthening a certain resolve that you have, that nothing can really hurt you or break you more than you. But at the same time, their strength and vulnerability will somehow allow maybe your heart to soften in a way, to be a little more penetratable, a little more porous, if you will. Yay! Yeah, I love talking to you guys now and hearing opinions and stuff like that. I love creating long form discussions though, because I know that if you're just like in your car or somewhere and you watched an episode of one of these dumb shows and you're like, I want to break down what I just watched, and also what did I just watch? It's just good to like have that. You might not want to hear someone like me be like, "Aw, I love you, Shay," right in the middle of you listening to my 90-day content. I love you. Thanks, Shay. I don't talk about serious stuff. I talk about dumb stuff. But at the same time, serious stuff comes out of talking about anything. Just like when you're talking about serious stuff, sometimes funny stuff comes out of it. The human experience just has, contains such multitudes. By serious stuff, it's like I'm not a scientist, I'm not a politician, like what, like I do care about a lot of things that are happening in the world, and I talk about those things, but at the same time, I love to act and I love to read plays. I want to like write, and the focus to be able to pour myself into that kind of work. I want to be able to have a certain amount of like ease and joy in other parts. You know what I'm saying? Which is probably why, I mean, I don't know how much of Love After Lockup I want to talk about, but I've always loved Sister Wives, and we have a new 90-day happening. So I have come to find my friends are so much more there than I realized before. I am so grateful that is true love. Yeah. Thank you. Friends are incredibly important. Like, yeah, there's so many different kinds of love. When I went to New York, my hair was always frizzy the whole time. By frizzy, I mean it was like always curly the whole time. And I really liked it. It was just, and I realized I like my hair curly. By curly, I feel like that's a subjective word. So I guess I have to use the word wavy or with texture or natural texture. For some reason also, I've been in my dad's house and also now I'm in LA at my place. There's been one fly in the room with me, whatever house I was in 2 different counties, like for the past 3 days. So I'm just assuming that there's just flies happening because I don't even like open up windows and doors that much. I just opened up the windows or doors just basically enough for me to come in and move all my stuff in. I mean, in West Hollywood right now, if you can't tell, it's sweaty. No, it's sweaty. Things are sweating. Things have been sweaty, honey. Things are sweaty. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm so excited to continue on with YouTube and Substack and do some more writing. I really want to do some like essay work and some writing for like, you know, my thoughts on things. Like I know I just got done saying like, Shay, I don't want to talk about serious stuff, but one serious thing that I like can't stand is AI. Like I hate Chat GPT and I hate AI. So like I have like an essay I want to write about that I've been like mulling over. And then I have some fun content, just like characters and some like kind of like acting stuff I want to do. I've never really like try to create what they call short form content. But I've been trying to get better at myself as an autiste, honey. And that doesn't just mean theater, but it actually just means also comedy and sort of like getting myself to like create in new realms without sort of feeling either weirdness, shame, embarrassment, or all that stuff. So I got to do this fun character, like a version of a fun character over the summer that I'm like, oh my God. I know. So I don't know. When I was in high school or college, one of my assignments was like Lucrezia Borgia, villain or villainous. And I read about her, and she's basically, you maybe read the Borgias or whatnot, or saw that show. If you didn't, totally fine. She's the illegitimate daughter of a pope, Pope Rodrigo. He was pope like during the early 15th century. And like she had a bunch of brothers, and they kept marrying her off, and then like, like they would not want her, the family that she had been aligned with anymore, and so they would just like kill off that person. It's like, oh, it's like whatever. There's a lot of like intrigue there, and it was like a crazy time during like Venetian Roman, Catholic politics or whatever. I just like love that shit. And so I wrote this like paper on it, and obviously they've done multiple like period pieces telling that story. But for an assignment, I had to like pick a character, and I didn't do the best job of what I was supposed to do. I think I was supposed to pick a character and create like a great voice for her. What I did is I just picked her, and I just pretended to be here for like a long time, and then just like improv a bunch of information. And I didn't realize how much I know about her. Like, for instance, she was basically alive during the same time as Michelangelo. And like, because I was raised so Catholic, I just also know a lot of Catholic stuff, which comes in handy. And then all that to say, like, I want to start getting better at social media and content creation and podcasting and that kind of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to growing, Yeah, I don't like politics. She was clever yet cunning. I liked her story. Me too. Is she the villain though, or is she a villainess? Or is she a victim? Yeah, victim of like the patriarchal world and her parents and her dad and her brothers, because there's like, I don't know. I got this like coconut water, and it's so beyond sweet. I don't even know. It's almost like they added sweetness to it, but they didn't. All right, my loves, I should probably go now because my throat's getting dry. And as you know, I keep trying to like put grapes and different sips of coconut water in my mouth. But it's been such a pleasure talking to you all. I love you guys so much. Let's do this again next week, right? When this video goes up, tell me on Tuesdays, what is your preferred time? Do you like more of like a 3 or 4, or do you like between the hours of like, let's just say like 3 till now, 3 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time? What is your favorite time, or what works for you on Tuesdays? All right, I will talk to you later, and obviously take care of yourselves and one another. Stand up for what you believe and make art. All right. Bye.